Tonight's homework is going to be dealing with area and perimeter. We're going to do a little bit of review from today's lessons, and I'll be working a problem, you'll be working another. So let's start with number one. Number one has you looking for the perimeter and area of rectangles A and B. We'll put A on those two lines, and we'll put B on these two lines. Now, if you look at both rectangles, one is transparent, you can actually see the grids through them, the other is not. So, to me, both of them are pretty much the same. We can easily find A's perimeter. If you remember what perimeter is, it's the area around, by counting each of the sides going all the way around. So, I'm going to let you go ahead and do that all the way around, and that'll give you a number. Another way to do it is just to count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 on this side, which means you know the other side has to have 5. And then count them this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 there, and that means you would have to have 8 there. And then all we have to do is add them up. We can say 8 plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 10 is 26 units. Now, there's an easier way of doing that. What we could say is that we can say 8 times 2 plus 5 times 2 would equal the perimeter. Now, what is the area? Well, the area is how many squares are actually covering the entire inside of this. We can count every square. Sure, you could do that. But what is this? This makes an array, correct? So what an array is a multiplication problem. So if we know that we have 5 here and 8 here, all we have to do is multiply 8 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. Your answer is going to be 40, but it's not the same 40 as the 26 would be for perimeter, because the 26 is just 26 units. We are not counting squares, so it's 40 square units, and it's a big difference. Okay, you're going to want to do B on your own. I want you to use the two formulas we talked about, multiplying the length times the width to get area, and adding all of the lengths to get perimeter. Go ahead and do B now. When you're ready to move on, press pause. You need to press pause now. And when you're ready to move on, press start again, and we can go on to the next problem. Okay, we are not going to be doing 2 with me. We've just done the same thing for 2 as you did for number 1. So you can do those 2 on your own. What we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3, the directions tell you just to find the perimeter, not the area. We're dealing with some pretty big numbers here, so we're just going to worry about the perimeter. The perimeter for A is 149 meters times 2, 149 meters plus 149 meters. Then we have to add 76 plus 76. Now, this is easy. It's just a bigger problem to deal with. We don't know how to multiply 149 times 2 yet, so we're just going to add that together. Okay, so 9 plus 9 is 18. Carry your 1, that'll be 9. So we have 298 plus 76. 8 plus 6 is, hopefully you said 14. Then we have 10 plus 7 is 17. That's a 3. So it's 1,374. 1,374 meters. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about what a meter is. A meter is a unit of measurement. Now, we talked about this a little bit today in class. We can change meters to other units of measurement using our patterns that we've just learned in multiplication. So, if we know that for every 1 meter there are 100 centimeters, how many centimeters would 1,374 be? Well, if we're going to multiply that times 100, what are we doing? We're just moving it over twice in the place value chart, or we're just adding 2 zeros. So you're going to write your 1,374 Put your 2 zeros on the end, and that's going to give you your answer. So that in meters would be the same thing in centimeters. Go ahead now, work at B for number 3. You'll notice that you have centimeters here, meters and centimeters here. What I would do is I would first change my 2 meters into centimeters. How many centimeters would 2 meters be? Don't forget, you're going to have to add that 10 after you change it. Go ahead and press pause, finish this page, and then we'll be ready to move on to numbers 4, 5, and 6. Number 4 has us finding the area, but we don't know the length of one of the sides. This is pretty easy. This is basically a multiplication problem. We don't know one of the factors. So 6 times what number will equal 6? We know that there's 6 centimeters. There would be a total of 6 squares there. We know that this is 6. So what would that be? Well, what is the only thing you can multiply times 6 to equal 6? It would be 1. Now, this rectangle is really not drawn to scale. In other words, if I were to draw this rectangle, 6 times 1, my 6 would be like this and my 1 would be like that, right? Because 6 is bigger than 1. But this one's not really drawn that way, so it's not really asking you to think about what the side of what the sides really would look like. So I just want you to think about that for a minute. So the x is going to equal, nope, not 6, 1 centimeters. Now, I want you to hit pause, find the answer to B. What is the missing side? Now you found 4B, we're moving on to 5. 5 now asks us to do something a little different. Now we're looking for the perimeter when only one side is known. Now we know what the perimeter is. We only know one side, so we have to figure out the other side. Now, if you'll notice, these numbers are a little bit bigger. So let's start with A. I'm going to let you do B on your own. So if we know this side is 40, that means that side has to be 40, correct? So we know that if we add up all the sides, we're going to get the same. So we go 40 plus 40 equals 80. Now we know that's 80. Which means we need to know what this side and this side is. And we know that both of those sides have to be the same. And we know if we add everything up, it's going to be 180. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 180, and I'm going to subtract what I already know. I already know 80, which equals 100. Which means when I add up this side right here and this side right here, it equals 100. And I know both sides have to be equal. So I'm asking myself, what plus what that's the same equals 100. Well, we already know that. It's 50 plus 50. So my answer is going to be 50. Now you're going to do part B by yourself. Press play when you're ready to move on. Okay, we are moving on to number 6. On number 6, I'm going to do A with you, and you are going to do B on your own. So I just took out all of the other work that I've shown you because I'm going to need the room. So let's read what we have to do. Each following rectangle has whole number side lengths. Given the area and the perimeter, find the length and the width. Now we don't know what anything is. All we know is what the area equals and the perimeter equals. So now, if we know the area equals 32, we're going to have to come up with all the factor pairs that could equal 32. So let's start thinking. Okay, so what times 1 will equal 32? 1 times 32. Well, if we add up all of those going around, so that means this would be one side would be 32, and this side right here would be 32, and this would be 1 and 1. Would that equal 24? No, there's no way that could work. So we know the answer is not 1 and 32. So now that you know kind of what we're looking for, let's keep going. If we know we're going to have to equal 24, let's look at some other factored pairs, some other facts that equal 32. Okay, so I know a lot of you know that 8 times 4 equals 32. So let's see what happens with that. So 8 times 4. If this is 4, this side would have to be 8, which means this side would have to be 8, and which means this side would have to be 4. So 8 plus 8 is 16. 4 plus 4 equals 8. What is 16 plus 8? Did you get 24? There you go. So guess what we've just found? We found the length and the width. Does it matter if the 4 is the length or the 8 is the width? It really doesn't. As long as you know that it's going to be 4 and 8, you're fine. Now, so your job now is to find the width and the length for part B. Bring all your answered questions that we didn't do together today or tonight back to class tomorrow. We'll go over them and see where you are. Good luck and have fun.